Hi, I'm Siobhan Bonson of the Milford Area Chamber of Commerce. I am here at Poor Richards with the owner, Ann Williams, and we are here to spread the word about her unique store. And we have a few questions and conversation that we'll have today. Ann, can you tell us how you started the business and why?
Well, I worked for about 22 years in distribution and import sales for wineries and other importers before starting the store. And everywhere I worked, there were the things that the staff thought were particularly compelling and interesting products. And then there were the other things that we had to sell in order to keep our jobs. So I founded this store in order to sell that first category, the things that are particularly interesting and compelling. We feature small producers, independent growers, artisanal selections of spirits and craft beers. That doesn't mean that they're expensive, it just means that they're good.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
I will say that Ann has helped the Milford Area Chamber with a few beer and wine tastings, and working with Ann is very easy. If anybody has questions, she's got the answers to everything. We also would like to spread the word between the Chamber and our members that this is a way to help give the public an idea of what's going on within their area, and Franklin is right next door to Milford. So what is one very unique item that you would say is special here? Or is there only one? Can you pick a couple?
That's really hard for me to pick. But one of the things, and I should have a prop here, but one of the things that's really interesting that we took in recently is the Boston Cream from Boston Harbor Distillery. Boston Harbor Distillery is a brand new distillery right on the Dorchester waterfront, and they're making this cream liqueur from local rum, local maple syrup, local cream, and a little bit of local organic cold brewed coffee. It basically tastes like butterscotch if butterscotch were grown up and not so sweet. And I have been accused of putting crack in it because people buy it and then they come back and I'm like, I really need another one of those. Yeah.
I think it's great. So when somebody comes in, like I've been in before, and said, I have no idea, but my husband likes Guinness, what would you suggest to somebody like that? Because you've been very helpful, and every time I go home, he's very happy that I've been here.
Well, there are certain categories of beverages. So Guinness, for example, is a stout, so you look to other stouts. You need to have a basic knowledge of your product lines, and then you can fill in with things that might, expand that customer's horizons or give them a different experience than they've had before, and that's kind of what we're about.
You've been in business about 3 years?
It'll be 3 years on Thanksgiving Day this year.
Oh, how successful.
So,
congratulations.
yeah.
So what made you pick Franklin?
We picked Franklin because we looked for an area that had a demographic that was attractive to us, people educated, questioning, a little bit adventurous. And then we were also looking for a scenario where it was close to a major route, in this case 495, preferably at the confluence of others. So 495, between 95 and 90 worked out really well for us.
Great. And what was the one thing that you've experienced that you really didn't think you would have experienced over this first 3 years? Anything come to mind?
Oh, lots of things. But a really positive one is the beer. We thought that we would have craft beer, and I certainly had an appreciation for and, at least an amateur's knowledge and love for craft beer before we started the store. I couldn't possibly have estimated how fanatically loyal and devoted the craft beer lovers are. People will drive from Dorchester and from New Hampshire and from Maine to get special beers that they see that we have online.
Okay. Now the spirit side, we've talked about the beer, so
Yeah.
the spirit side. You were mentioning earlier that there's a special scotch that you carry. Are there other items that are quite unique that you might want to mention?
We have a really extensive selection of bourbons and scotches and whiskeys. Particularly in scotch, we favor a category known as independent bottlers. So as opposed to a distillery bottling, Delmore, for example, might make Delmore 12 and Delmore 15. But if you deal with the independent bottlers, you would have access to somebody who decided to bottle it in a sherry cask at 14 years of age, or in a mixture of sherry and bourbon at 20 years of age, or maybe they put it in a Pedro Jimenez cask and held on to it for 24 years. They also bring in distillers that we would not normally see in the United States. We have a strange insistence upon our 750 ml bottle, and the rest of the world does 500s and liters.
Oh.
So, you know, in our conceit, we expect them to put in a whole new bottling line just to accommodate us, and mostly the smaller ones say, that's okay.
Okay.
So dealing with the independent bottlers gives us access to a lot of really interesting malts that we wouldn't be able to sell otherwise.
And what's interesting is when you come in here, there's everything from bathtubs to boats to granite countertops and barrels. I love the feel when you walk in. It's very welcoming. It's just not four walls, and people always say hi and are right there to help you. So for me as a consumer, I think that's fantastic. I also want to thank you because you are our first cash mob for the Milford Area Chamber to try this tonight. We've invited our members, and hopefully they will be out and coming in to give you some business and see what's going on at Poor Richard's in Franklin. And I really want to thank you for the opportunity to have this conversation with me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the same.
All right.
All right. Thank you.